you decide to take it. It's not like something you're like, okay, casually taking it. Okay, let's do mechanical engineering. So how is that had been so far?
It's been pretty cool. Like I'm, sorry. I really like being a mechanical engineer, and I hope to do some kind of research with like metal or plastic fatigues in the future.
You mean something like material engineering?
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be really cool. I found an internship like in this area where I'm able to do something similar.
Okay.
And then back home, I was a part of a research group with that studied.
Now, this episode was not really something that I planned it for, to be honest. This was more of a very spontaneous podcast because I met Erin in mostly parties, and Erin happens to be one of these people who I've only talked in the parties. So, Erin on this podcast is from the US, and she's a mechanical engineer over here, and she's studying mechanical engineering essentially. And this podcast, the conversation happened to be quite insightful. She shares her journey as a ballet dancer, and she happens to learn ballet since the age of 3. So 14 years of straight learning ballet and performing on different stages. Very inspirational, very insightful, and very, very good podcast. I hope you get a lot of value out of this podcast. So let's get started.
So I am originally from Minnesota,
Yeah.
which is like top and center in the States. I don't know. And then I lived in the same place my whole life until time for college came around. And as I was looking for schools, I found one that allowed me to combine like mechanical engineering and like German, because I'd been taking the language for a few years. And then I was also and I found it in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the University of Tulsa, which is a pretty small school, like really close to the city. But they have a really cool program called International Engineering and Language. And so I'm able to study abroad for a whole year, which isn't super common for engineers in the States, at least.
Yeah, okay. And you already are familiar with German language, right? So how has it been? How do you know German? So
It's coming along. I definitely came here thinking that I knew a lot more than I actually did. Because my classes and exams were very good at pumping your confidence. They were like, okay, you can do this.
Yeah.
And then I got here and I was like, oh, nobody speaks the same way that you read in a textbook. And that really opened my eyes. I was like, wow, huh. It makes sense now, looking back, but
yeah.
August Erin was very surprised.
Oh, okay. Which level are you at? You're at B2, right?
Yeah, kind of in between B1 and B2.
Okay.
But
that's still quite a lot. I'm a 1.1, so of course that's something which is important. Cool. So, you told that you're studying your bachelor's in mechanical engineering. So, was it something that you were already having plans for? Because mechanical engineering is something which is you take it on purpose. You have okay, you decide to take it. It's not like something you're like, okay, casually taking it. Okay, let's do mechanical engineering. So how is that had been so far?
It's been pretty cool. I'm sorry. I really like being a mechanical engineer, and I hope to do some kind of research with metal or plastic fatigues in the future.
You mean something like material engineering?
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be really cool. I found an internship in this area where I'm able to do something similar.
Okay.
And then back home, I was a part of a research group that studied nitinol fatigue.
Yeah.
Metal with memory.
Okay, I think it's we're getting too much technical for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can yeah. But it's cool. I like it. It's nice to have to be able to combine science and creativity and because I also really enjoy design work.
Oh, okay. You mean CAD essentially? You mean CAD work?
Yeah,
okay,
with CAD. I haven't been able to do too much of it because my laptop runs a little bit too slow.
Okay.
But when I'm back on campus, I have access to better computers.
Wow. And were you like sure about getting into mechanical engineering for like your early childhood? Or was it like something that you developed like over time that I think I'm going to go in this direction or something?
It was definitely like I developed it over time.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, I really wanted to be like on Broadway or like, I don't know, in movies or something.
Yeah.
Because I like grew up dancing and then did theater in high school and all that.
Yeah, okay.
But I always really loved science and like math and like solving problems. And like my mom studied theoretical mathematics and my dad did like chemistry and like chemical engineering.
So coming from a hardcore engineering family.
Exactly.
Okay.
And like it was just kind of the guided path in my family. You're either a teacher or a engineer.
Yeah. Okay.
You can still do what you want,
but that's recommended.
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I mean, what about your like? Was it like any sort of like pressure from your parents, or was it like, or were you like influenced by them? Looking at them and getting inspired from them. Being in this field or something.
There was never any pressure from my parents. They were always like, do what would make you happy and like what can set you up for your best future. And like, but I know, kind of growing up, we always had so much like influence of. Like specifically from my dad when he would bring home like projects from work, or he would come up with like these random science experiments that we could do in the backyard, like putting a Coke can in like liquid nitrogen or something and then waiting for it to explode.
Okay.
Like that kind of.
I have not done that stuff. Mine were pretty easy and basics actually.
Yeah, it's like the Bill Nye kind of experiments that are like, whoa, that's so cool.
Okay.
So it sparked something.
And you also mentioned about your theater experience, like, so I mean, you were part of the theater community in your high school, and I mean, you were like actively participating, and didn't you feel like you should, maybe want to try that career path as well?
I thought about it. Yeah, because I was really active in high school. Like I was in as many shows as I was able to because I was still like competitive, like doing the competitive dance thing at the same time.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and then I realized that I hate auditioning, and that's kind of one of the main parts in order to keep going in that career.
Yeah.
So, kind of once I got to college and whatever, I realized that I would rather do it as something fun on the side, to kind of keep the joy in it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to do it like throughout college as well. And then I've also done it a little bit while I've been here. There's an English theater group that like meets once a week.
Okay.
And we've had 2 little like skit show nights so far.
Oh, so you perform in those skit nights or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know about it. EU is so huge that there's so many groups. I'm like, okay, almost lost. Okay, but also I think we never had this conversation about what you're essentially doing at the campus and everything as well. And okay, so but that sounds cool. That sounds very cool. I also know that there's like a movie group as well in the university, right? Which
I think I've heard of it.
Showcases different movies or something in the department.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
I've seen their like texts and like group chats and things. So like, come watch this movie with us.
Yeah. True. And I think like a couple of weeks back, so they were like showcasing a movie on the retro projector or something. Like I think it was like a 1980s projector with the film one, with the spinning one or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so cool to see.
I think that busy week was quite busy, so I'm like, okay, that's cool, but maybe next time I'll skip this one. Okay, cool. So I kind of like get the vibe when you're like even here for the podcast that you're from the cinematic, like drama or club or something.
Yeah.
So you
does a scarf give it away?
Yeah, I mean you have that attire, attached to you. So that's kind of like I think that's really cool. And maybe like so let's come to Dortmund now. Okay. How has your Dortmund experience been so far?
it's definitely had its ups and downs, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Okay.
Like, I think being anywhere new for a long period of time is difficult, especially when you aren't as confident in the language or interacting with people. But I've really enjoyed being able to like be here and experience it. And like I know that I'm not the same person I was when I got here, and I'm totally okay with that. Like the food is different here, the windows, the doors, like the public transportation, you know. I could make a whole list. Like my mom texted me a while back and was like, "Hey, can you tell me everything that's different, because the girls at work want to know."
Oh, okay.
And so I like had my whole thing going.
Yeah, but I understand, you know, everyone over here has changed as being a different person quite fast over here. I feel the kind of like change that happens to a person over like 5 or 6 years of time period, over here for 6 months of Erasmus, it happens like in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a very important thing. I mean, that's a very factual thing that you said.
It's so cool to see.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you mentioned that, you know, the language is different and everything. I think you still are speaking from someone from, you know, who is already like B2, right? I mean, imagine like someone like me who's like only 1.1.
I admire you so much. Like, I probably would have gone home. I would have been so stressed. So I am in awe of you. Like really, truly, honestly.
No, I think it was much more easier to, you know, survive here just because of the fact that, you know, some people are like ready to, you know, speak English. Some people. You know, I won't say it for everyone, but some people are like okay with it. Okay, we'll try our level best to, you know, speak in English and everything. Cool. But you know, let's look at the different side that you're on. You know, on the mechanical engineering part.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you know, how do you look yourself, you know, going forward from here, you know, the Erasmus and everything. Of course, you know, Erasmus is going to get over soon for some of us. But you know,
it's so sad.
Yeah, but you know, how do you look yourself, you know, going forward from here?
I feel like I'm more confident in my like want to be an engineer. I'm excited to see kind of what the future holds, because most of my classes this semester have been engineering classes in German.
Okay.
And so
in German.
Yeah. So I'm currently like studying for all those exams and like
so you still have exams to give?
Yeah, I have 2 left. We'll get through them. We'll get through them.
It's only the STEM people who are left with exams.
Yeah.
You know, everyone else is like done. Yeah.
Why'd we pick STEM?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And I mean, you know, I mean, over here, how do you feel about the people who are in your department, essentially, like the people who are, you know, you with essentially, are they like really competent, or do you feel like the people from the US are like much more competent in this senses?
From what I've gathered, it's pretty much the same. Like it's like one of the major differences is like how much more self-motivated people are here. Like with less homework and fewer exams and things, you spend a lot more time like working through things on your own. But I think everyone has been so impressive in their own right, and I'm like I truly am in awe of how smart some of these people are, and then being able to like talk about their research in multiple languages. Like I've talked with professors about some of what they've done, and it's just so cool. There are like the labs are pretty much the same kind of vibe, where it's just empty warehouse with so many different machines that are all just kind of scattered. It's just like 1 degree off.
Oh, okay. Just 1 degree off. That's not a lot. Okay.
Yeah. It's still so cool. Like.
But I feel, you know, doing mechanical engineering, especially in country like Germany, is something that, you know, puts you in front quite a lot. Because I think Germany is like, you know, already so famous for its mechanical engineering, especially with the automobile sector. You know, like I don't know, if you like ask someone at least from India or, you know, from Sweden, you know, if the moment you start speaking about a German car like BMW, they're like, oh, this car is not going to break at any point in its lifetime. So
it's definitely kind of intimidating to be here.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I just like I don't want to mess up. I want them to think that I'm smart, that like, and yeah. But everyone that I've talked to has been so helpful, like in my classes and like talking with professors and like working through things.
Yeah, okay.
There's a passion for like knowledge and like sharing that knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
That I think is so cool. Like, I don't know, it's awesome.
Yeah, true, I agree. And how has it been like with the travels? So, I mean, have you been traveling here once you're here?
I've mostly just like stayed in Germany. But I've like at the beginning I like had my little group of people, and we've gone to like Amsterdam, and that was pretty cool. Though like on our way there, our Flixbus got canceled an hour and a half after it was supposed to leave. So we had to like figure out the train system to get there. But it was an adventure. Like, it's been so cool to travel while I've been here, to see the things that I've only ever seen in like textbooks or I don't know, on Instagram or something. But
I always feel that, you know, people from the US have this. So to give you a little context, you know, I was also there in the US, you know, mostly in like California and New York.
Yeah.
So I understand, you know, public transport is not a thing there. You know?
Yeah, it's not. But, it's very different.
Yeah. So, but you're born and brought up over there. So how do you feel about the, you know, subtle appearance of this amazing public transportation?
Oh, it's so nice. Like, it's so nice to not have to worry about like, excuse me, like gas, like paying for gas or like traffic. Yeah. Because you can just kind of get on the public transportation and go.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that I've kind of been struggling with is how long it takes to get from place to place with public transportation sometimes. Like I'll look on the map and it'll be like, oh, it only takes 20 minutes to get there, but it's by car. And so you like switch it over and it's like an hour and a half. But I still like...
You still like it?
Yeah, I still really like it and I appreciate it, because it's... If public transportation like this didn't exist here, I know that I wouldn't have the same experience that I've had being here. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, being able to take day trips to like Cologne or Dusseldorf or wherever just for the day because you can.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the major implications that are there is like, you know, you don't really have to worry of owning the liability of a car over here. You can just be a student.
Yeah, exactly.
Be okay with it as well. And especially with the ticket and everything, like you can go anywhere.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you have a magical app. You can go anywhere you want. Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. Like when my family was here over winter break, they were asking me like, oh, how do you like buy tickets? What do you do? And I had to look at them, and I like looked at them with like a blank face, because I've never like really bought a ticket. Like, because before I had my student ticket, I had the like €9 monthly ticket.
Got it.
And it was, I was like, sorry, got nothing for you, but we can Google it. We can look it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think the initial friction of the system was something that was bothering me, at least.
Okay.
You know, like in Germany, that you know you have to be there with all the papers and everything.
Oh yeah, like all the bureaucratic stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's something which like oh, ouch. Okay, that's something which is pinpointing. Yeah. But after a while, you'll get used to it. Like, you know, you mentioned today before we started recording this podcast that, you know, you got your resident permit card today. And it's like nearly five months now.
Yeah, it's been a while. Like so they grouped all of the students together, that basically all the exchange students that aren't like Erasmus. At the beginning of the semester, they grouped us all together, and we went downtown to like the immigration office to get all the paperwork filled out. And because there were like, I don't know, 12 or 13 of us, we just sat there for 5 hours waiting for everybody's like things to be done. And it was a time. I think I have pictures of like 4 or 5 people just like sleeping either on the tables or under the tables or just like in the corner.
Yeah, okay.
Because we were like, the intensive was done for the day and everybody was wanted to go home.
Yeah.
But
I really like the time period that we got like in September. When everyone was here and we were doing the Erasmus. What do you call it? Intensive course.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
That was so fun.
the best time. I think the best time. We were like just having this one class in the morning from 9 to 12, and then we'd be like, okay, was it 9 to 12 or was it 9 to 1?
I think it was 9 to 1.
I think it was 9 to 1.
I'm not sure.
I think it was. All I remember is I think it was like 4 hours. So
Yeah.
I think it was like 9 to 1.
Yeah.
So just one class for the day, then we like done, go back home, sleep.
It was so cool. Like, it felt like summer camp
Exactly.
or something. Like,
Yeah.
you get to, like, you're going up and you see all these people and you're just, like, hanging out every day.
Yeah, true. And then the best part was like on the first class when we had our first class on Monday. After
Yeah.
the first class, we realized, okay, there is a student bar over here. And then all of us just went to the student bar and there was a party.
Area 51.
Yeah.
A delight.
In the first month was like really the phase when we were like, everyone was like, just enjoying and chilling and doing nothing.
Yeah. And then classes started.
Then classes started. Yeah, then we're like, okay, now we have to study and everything. At least for the STEM people.
Yeah.
I have met some of the people over here at parties who are here and who don't really have any subjects as well. Can you
I'm
imagine?
jealous. That
I'm like, what are you up to? They're like, we're just traveling. I'm like, how? I mean, you don't have classes? They're like, no, we don't have any other subjects. So
would be so cool.
yeah, the strategy that I applied is that they only had like 5 grades, as mentioned from here.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
essentially, they just need to give the language course, which was already 7 grades, and they're like done and dusted with it.
Easy money. They're out. That's
Easy, clean, no problem. Yeah.
that. I guess actually I don't know if I would want that. I feel like I like enjoy having things to do.
That's true.
Like I like having a schedule of like at least some sort.
Something is happening in the life. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's the
keep
kind
it
of
going.
motivation that every STEM person has. Everyone's like, okay, why is not something happening in my life? I must be doing something wrong.
Like I have to make my own schedule like for days that I don't have anything. I like will write it out in my like planner the night before
Correct.
because otherwise I won't get out of bed for a hot minute.
Correct.
But
So, I mean, with the mechanical engineering in place, I have heard that the job market in the US is like quite tight. Getting a job over there is like quite difficult in a lot of instances. What are your thoughts upon that?
It's not as difficult for a mechanical engineer, just because it's such a broad base of knowledge.
Yeah.
You can kind of like you have to play your cards right and talk to as many people as you can, but I think there's still quite a few opportunities. Like I had an internship this past summer and I ended up getting it through like a 12-minute phone call.
Okay.
For better or worse, I don't know, but like it ended up being a really cool opportunity. Like I was just able to kind of observe like project management and stuff throughout the plant.
Yeah. Okay. What
but-
was it about though?
Like the internship?
Internship.
Yeah. So it was at a like a manufacturing plant kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota. But they create a lot of different things with like adhesive.
Okay.
I don't know if I like
Yeah. Adhesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
But I think for the people, it's like adhesive is like the thing that binds something together, like a glue or a
oh
gum
yeah.
or something.
Like
Yeah.
blue painter's tape and post-its
Okay.
specifically. It's what
Cool.
the company makes.
That's nice.
But yeah, it was really interesting to like see how they make all of the things that they make and like just kind of see how a job in like a real life works
Yeah.
outside of college and university and
Correct.
school. But,
So, but how would anyone who is into at least mechanical engineering would stay motivated? That's my biggest question. Because I know
Yeah.
STEM is hard. What motivates you, and how would you recommend any other person to stay motivated?
It's tough to stay motivated. Like it took me until my 3rd year of university to like really be sure that I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. But just finding the joy in the little things, like when you're able to kind of finish a problem or like finally understand a concept that you've been working on forever. Like kind of chasing the little wins. That's really what's kept me going. And like when things get really tough, like because I've thought about like switching majors or dropping out or like finding something else to do with my time. But I always would kind of turn to my professors, and there are like a couple at my university that are just such amazing people. And like if I'm struggling in something, I can just email them and be like, hey, can we meet up, because I need to like discuss this. And they've definitely like kept me in it. It's so cool.
I think that's something which is like you know, very important thing for any professor who is teaching STEM. I think their job is not to teach us; it's to make sure that we are like motivated enough to that we finish the thing
to keep us in there.
Keep us in there. Okay, don't drop out or something. Okay, don't do that. Because it's so funny because you know, in Sweden, what happens is like when I started my masters, my masters had a bunch, like I think like in all, specifically for robotics. So my master had like 2 ways. You know, it has electronics, and it has, you know, computer science. I'm on the computer science part. So when it was started, you know, we had like 20 people in all. In the entire thing.
Like in your like year or like the graduate program?
The entire master's program. For the robotics part. So we had like only 20 people. It was like a small team, essentially a group, bunch of kids. And
very solid.
After 1 year, we were left like only 8 or something.
Really? That many people were like, I'm done, I'm out?
No, they got jobs.
Oh, okay.
Not. I think I think only one of the person left because the rest essentially got a job. Because the thing is in Sweden, if you get a job, you don't really have to pay for your tuition anymore.
Oh, that's nice.
So
that's a delight.
If you play the cards right, it's like, you know, it's like, okay, you can just get a job and you don't have to pay for the tuition of, you know, the rest of the studies. And plus you can pause the studies over there.
Oh, interesting.
So some of the people, what they do is they start the studies, you know, get a job, work for their like for 5-10 years, and then they're like, okay, you know, we'll come back again maybe sometime later, and then we'll finish it off. So
that's so cool. I think like there are some places that, like some companies that offer like tuition reimbursement for master's degrees. Like I've heard of a few here and there.
But the problem is like it comes with a very strong contract that you have to work for the company at least for 3 years or something.
Okay, that makes sense. But
3 years with a company, I'm like, that kind of commitment.
Don't want to be tied down.
No.
It's interesting that you can like pause your studies as well. I guess you can kind of do that in the States too, but it's not as much of a like
thing.
Like I think it's probably harder to get back into it. I don't know. I don't have experience with that, but
I think mostly the problem is like the people who are, you know, coming for masters. At least in Sweden, what I realize is a lot of people who are coming for masters are not from Sweden. They're like you know, coming from different countries, more like immigrants essentially. And they essentially have to, you know, get their visa up and running. And what companies do is like, you know, because student visa is like for 2 years. What companies offer, like, okay, no problem, we'll give you another 3 years of visa. Just work for us.
Perfect.
Like, perfect, no problem.
All right, now you can stay.
So, and I mean the jobs are pretty well paid and everything. So it's like, okay, cool.
That's nice too.
So, but you know, in the US, you mentioned that your bachelor's is essentially for 3 years, correct?
It's for 4 usually.
It's for 4. It's the same in India as well. In India, we have like 4 years of bachelor's. Cool. So, I mean, 4 years of bachelor's. How many people do, you know, actually like pass out the entire bachelor for mechanical engineering?
I think it depends on. It switches from university to university, but I think. Oh gosh, I wish I knew the statistics.
No, I mean, I'm just like maybe a ballpark number will be.
I think probably about 75% of like the original. Like 3/4 of it. Because I'm going through like my list of people that like switched to different majors and things throughout freshman year, and then the people that switched into mechanical engineering when they were like, I don't really want to do electrical engineering anymore. But yeah, it's pretty solid, and like once you get to like junior, senior year, like the last two, it's everyone that's there is gonna pretty much make it through.
Yeah, okay.
So,
but why? I mean, did you plan also to like go on to the Ivy Leagues college as well, like Carnegie Mellon and Stanford or things like that?
I never planned to do Ivy Leagues.
Okay.
I think that amount of like competitive influence would break me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a firm believer in like working together and kind of. I don't know, I also enjoy my sleep. I had a friend that went to Harvard and he only got like 3 hours of sleep a night or something. So this is like, I've only from one person that I've heard, but he
I have heard
had a hard time. Okay, cool. Good to know.
We're on the same page, so yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I really enjoy kind of the less stress and like, but still having cool opportunities to meet new people.
Yeah.
It's nice, like, because I went to school like 3 or 4 states away from my like home.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding something new.
So if someone comes to Minnesota, what would you recommend doing for the first thing, or what is the most popular thing over there?
I think the biggest thing that like what I've heard that people know of the most is the Mall of America, which is like 4 or 5 floors of like an entire mall, and then there's a theme park in the middle.
Okay.
And it's like Nickelodeon universe.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like it used to be like Peanuts, like Snoopy themed.
Yeah.
But then sometime in the mid 2000s it switched. But I think that one's always really cool to see. Then if you go to like the northern part of Minnesota, there's Lake Superior. And there's a lot of really cool like hiking trails and like a lot of cool nature things to see. Like, yeah. And Minnesota is also the land of 10,000 lakes. So if you want to do anything on the water, pretty much anywhere you go in Minnesota, you can find a lake or two within a 15-minute drive.
Okay. I'm secretly making a small list of places to go with all the podcasts and everything.
I can send you a list. Yeah, it's like one of my best friends got an internship up in Minnesota. Like she's from Arkansas.
Yeah.
And she got an internship up in Minnesota, and before she got there, she Googled everything like that you can do in Minnesota, like places, food, and she had this whole like color-coded spreadsheet. It's amazing. It's so pretty. But yeah, nice. There's a lot of things, a lot of cool like
things to do. And,
yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned about nature. Are you like into sports as well, and or some sort of things like that?
I like sports, but I'm bad at them.
Okay.
I have no hand-eye coordination. Like I think I tried like many different things as a child.
I should probably not mention this, but I remember on the Christmas party we had this drinking game where you literally stood on your hands and along the wall. So you can't say that you're not good at sports at all.
I guess I did like dance competitively for like 14 years at a like smaller studio in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And like I spent basically my entire childhood there. Like I went to school, I did my homework, I went to dance.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Idle kid life, right?
Exactly. Like it was so cool. I got to do a lot of different like styles of dance, but the main one that my my studio focused on was like ballet and like technical instruction.
Okay.
And
that's a very hard one, actually.
Yeah. It was tough, but it was so rewarding to like see how all of the like shows and things went.
Yeah.
Like just like being here, it had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world. I know that it shaped me to be the person I am today, of like being able to carry the confidence that I have and like find different ways to go about things just by having the confidence to do them.
Yeah. Okay.
And so,
but
it's cool.
I mean, you mentioned that you have done like ballet for 14 years. I mean, I have only seen it in movies.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like hard with that, that your feet is like at an angle, right? And you
Yeah.
have to tie it up with something. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly
So-
sure what exactly it is.
I think you're talking about like point, like
I mean,
ballet,
yeah,
like
I mean,
like when you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
like all the way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's like a special kind of ballet as
Okay.
well. Like it's a one tier more difficult. Like it's I was able to do that for my last few years in
Yeah,
high school.
good.
But it's so cool. Like you're basically just balancing on the tip of your toe.
Yeah.
Like it's not much bigger than like a
A small circle,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
like a
2
Euro,
centimeters.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like the shoe is really hard.
Yeah.
It's like it's just layers of things that make it really like tough. And you have to like break them in by like physically like breaking them sometimes.
Okay.
But it's so cool. And then you can like in order to prepare the shoe, you have to you have to sew a bunch of different things on it, like elastics and ribbons, in order to keep it on your foot safely.
Okay. Sounds complex.
Yeah. I could go on about ballet all day.
How much time does it take to tie it up on your feet? I've heard it's like
landed on the other side.
yeah. I've heard it's like a little complex, right?
It's not too bad. Like once you get it down, I was able to I think I was able to tie my point shoes in like a minute or two.
Okay.
Because you just have like you have elastics that go over the top of your foot
Okay.
to like hold your foot into the shoe.
Yeah.
And then there's like 2 more ribbons that go around, and they like just go around your ankle. A lot of the like stereotypical ballerinas that you see
Yeah.
have the like ribbons all the way up their
Yeah.
leg.
Yeah.
That's actually not safe.
Okay.
Because it doesn't can constrict your leg, so you'll only see them around people's ankles if it's like for safety versus fashion.
Okay.
But it's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I feel like with this conversation we're like digging a different path now, I thought I'm gonna ask you more of the mechanical questions, but now you're like mentioning about ballet and everything, so I'm like very curious about those areas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask away. I have so many things in my brain.
No, but I mean, I think the first question would be like, so how would someone like start and get into ballet? What would you recommend? How would anyone start with ballet?
I think like just kind of starting off with like the want to do it, because it is definitely like hard on your body, and it's hard like mentally sometimes, but just finding the joy in it. But one of the things that I would really recommend is finding a class at like a local studio or in your city or something.
Okay.
Like my home studio has adult classes, and then like they can like start from the beginning and work through it.
Yeah.
And then like just keep trying at it, because it's not something that you can learn in like one attempt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it takes a while to like get good at it and like trust yourself that you're getting better. Because it's all like with ballet you use every muscle of your body.
Okay.
Like some of the like other girls from my studio are the most toned people that you've ever seen in your life, but they don't do anything other than ballet.
Okay.
And like I don't know, it's such a cool thing to like enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's fun. If anybody ever has the opportunity to try, they should.
Yeah.
Also like attending ballets,
Yeah.
I think are incredible, because like watching the story being conveyed without like words or anything, it just kind of transcends a lot of other media that we focus on now.
Yeah, true. I'm always like looking for something which is like not so typical, right? I mean, because I feel like consuming any sort of like story in the form of like projector based movies, it's one thing. But I think since you mentioned about ballet, and I have never seen it personally, but I'm like more interested to
I
give it a shot.
absolutely recommend it. Like there's I think Dortmund has a ballet as well. Like there's a company here, but they do like I've seen a lot of ads for them, like Instagram knows. But they like Romeo and Juliet is really big, and like the Nutcracker, Swan Lake, all of the rest have fled my mind, but it's so cool. Like my last year of high school, we were able to do a like dance from Dracula. And that was so fun. Like it was ridiculously dramatic and theatrical, and like when we competed with the dance, we actually had like little blood tears. It was beautiful. It was incredible.
Sounds insane. Okay. I don't really like ask this question on like creative forms of art or something, but just to know and get the idea. How is it like on the career side of being a ballet dancer? Because since you have already touched that area quite properly, I think you can give us maybe like a little more better perspective on that.
Like, careers in ballet are usually done by the time you're 35, I think. Like, I'm not entirely sure, because, but I think it's about the same as like a pro, like, I don't know, sports player. But most people start young. Like I started when I was 3 or 4. Yeah. It was I was little.
3 years old and you were doing ballet.
Yeah. It was just like the baby ballet.
Okay, but
yeah.
It's still ballet.
Yeah. But it was like there's a lot of kind of, I can't think of the word, but usually in order to like progress and like to become a professional like ballerina, you have to start young and then get picked for like a company or like audition for a specific company, and then just like it's very early on in your career, and then like it's so draining on the body that you're just kind of done. Like I still have like my ankle clicks every time I step because of the issue that I had. I don't know. It's still cool.
There's a lot of like withdrawal to it as well, which comes along.
Exactly.
So, but the career lifespan is like more or less like 30 until when you're 35. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's been like more of a shift recently. I haven't been fully in touch with like the world of ballet as much as I was in high school. But once your joints start to give out, it's harder to do like the steps and things. And sometimes you're just so drained by the end of it that you have to like tap out. Because it's usually seen as like something that little kids do, but it's so admirable to see when adults try and like, or like when they do it.
Can someone who is like already there in their 20s or something can start with something like ballet now?
I think so. I don't know how much of a career could be had. But I think you could absolutely start in your 20s. Like if it's something that you enjoy and like I think it's just kind of like any other hobby. If you pick it up, put the time into it. And as long as you get something out of it. Cuz I don't know. Some things you have like you can enjoy more once you know that you'll get something back.
That's true. But I mean like this is such a like a new different path that I don't think so a lot of people have heard about it as well. Ballet as a professional career. As well. Because I think you are the first one who I'm actually meeting who is like a ballet ballet dancer, to be honest. I mean, I've only seen in movies essentially how things go. But it's such a special talent actually.
Thanks. I've had some friends that have gone to school for dance. Like so once they finished high school, they were like, I want to keep going. And they like study it as like either performance or choreography, and then kind of branch out from ballet. And then I also know some people that have joined companies abroad and then like continued to perform through that.
Wow. But and does US have like a very good support and culture for someone who wants to learn ballet, or do you feel like it's more on the urban side that people be like maybe they can grow better here?
I think it's there are a lot of different thoughts about ballet, and like because there are also like different ways of teaching ballet and like different styles of like it depends on like kind of where you are, but there's definitely a vibe like when I would tell people that I like danced like with like I danced ballet or like something that wasn't like as mainstream or mainstream, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is not so mainstream.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would get like sometimes would get some like weird looks, or like people like sometimes got the vibe that people thought I was like uppity or like, but I think it's just you're taught to have a specific posture, like like with your shoulders back and everything like this, because all of your power when you're dancing comes from your back. And I don't know. Yeah,
okay. Very interesting, actually. Very interesting. I'm like very I think now that you have touched upon this thing, I'll definitely look into some ballet happening which is nearby, I'll give it a shot to try it out as well. Cool.
I think it's so cool to like try, and then because also like beyond ballet, like there are so many other different types of dance that are like just as cool, just as fun.
Yeah, true.
And it's always an adventure.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Nice. But would you teach your future generation ballet again, or would you recommend going with ballet again as a second chance?
I like
maybe
would
that's
I
a very further question or something, but maybe that's
like would I like have my kids go into ballet?
Exactly.
I think I would if they wanted to.
Okay, so no pressure.
Yeah, like I would support them in whatever they did. One thing that I would kind of be aware of though is the like kind of body image that comes from being in ballet and like being in dance classes, because you are constantly like staring at yourself in a mirror for
hours.
Like I think I was up to 12 or 14 hours a week, and that can do some damage on your like body, like your self-perception. But I think it was still so like interesting, and like
you don't want to change it for anything.
Exactly. Like I feel like I have such a great appreciation for people that like are able to do something that they put their mind to like that, and like kind of having new experiences of like listening to different music, because all we listened to in class was like classical music, and just it's another like window into another world.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk about a little about your perception about India. What have you like? What are your thoughts about India as a country, and what all you know essentially? I'm curious about that. That direction as well.
Well, the U.S. is not as great with like cultures outside of the States.
I agree.
So honestly, probably most of what I know like kind of stems from what I see through media.
Of course.
Like I know that it's not the truth, like with everything. But like I know the food's really good. At least like the food that I've had. It's a delight.
Okay. Did you try it like here? Or have you tried it in a restaurant or something?
Mostly back home. Like there's
which one have you tried, if you remember the names?
I think it was like chicken tikka masala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Check.
Yeah.
Verified. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and there's a really good like place near my campus that it's just like a short drive, and you can just go and get these are not full sentences. It's honestly some of the best food in the area. It's just a delight. Like after finals or like after a particularly bad day, I'm like, okay, let's go get this.
What would you recommend? Okay, maybe like let's put it this way. So what would you have as a final thoughts to your 16-year-old self? If you have the opportunity to go back in time and tell your 16-year-old self okay, maybe this is something that you should change, and this is something that you would know at that time. One thought, or it could be like a sentence or something as well.
Trust yourself.
Okay.
And know that things might not always turn out the way that you expect them to, but they'll still turn out in a way that will like allow you to have stories later.
That's true. Okay.
Like, I don't know. I feel like.
Are you telling it from your experiences, or are you telling it like as a general thought for everything that you have?
I think it's kind of both. Like a lot has happened of like kind of going to school in a different state and like coming here and like going to new places, of finding that confidence and trust in myself, of like even if something is hard, I know that I can do it. Like I know that I can like figure something out. So I think it's just also just a general thing to keep in mind always.
I agree. Sounds good. But I mean, thank you for doing this. I think it was a very fun conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me.
I mean, I'm glad that now I know that I have a different image of you, before we actually start this conversation.
Yeah.
So I know that your geography skills need to be improved.
It's okay. Yeah.
But I also know that now you're like a professional ballet dancer. So like, okay, in future if I need to take any advices, I'll just maybe recommend me some good dance form that I can start with.
Absolutely, I got you.
Cool. But I mean, thanks for doing this, and I hope all of you enjoyed this podcast with Erin. And I'll catch you up in another one. Till then, keep listening, and bye.
Bye.
Cheers.